right, so what I've done to prepare for this job really goes back to even my childhood. I was very fortunate to have great parents, great family life, and they really instilled some core values early on in my life. Those values of honesty, integrity, work ethic, discipline, and putting others before yourself. I started learning those at an early age, which are all key values to this position and to any leadership position, really. I didn't even realize I wanted to be a fireman until I was in high school, and volunteer fire chief of the local department there asked if I wanted to try it. I said, sure, I'll give it a try. And then I found my passion for it. I really was drawn to helping others, being the one that they called to help, and then the teamwork of how the fire service operated really drew me in, and really changed my career path and my life path, really. And I was in high school. I was a pretty good football player. I had lots of scholarship opportunities, but I realized I wanted to be a fireman or a firefighter, and all the places that I had offers to didn't have a fire science degree. At that time, I knew what I wanted to do, and that was to be a firefighter. So I turned down my scholarship opportunities, and I used my A+ tuition money to go to OTC, earn my associate's degree in fire science technology for free by using A+, and I had a couple other scholarships that paid for my books, so I was able to go to college with my tuition paid for and my books paid for. While I was doing that, I was a newlywed. My wife and I got married right after I graduated high school, and really gave me that challenge of being first time, both of us living out on our own, and being a full-time student. And then the second semester, I picked up a full-time job while she was picking up a full-time job. So it gave me that challenge of trying to balance life and work schedules, and really plan all that out together. We had a plan set of I was going to go to school, earn my degree, and get my career, and then she was going to do that. She was going to go to school and get her degree and go to the occupation that she chose. So it really gave me that chance to start planning. Really, as soon as I graduated high school, we really had to organize, plan, and communicate together to make sure we were always heading in the right direction. After I got my degree, I went and worked at Branson Fire. I was down there for about 5.5 years before coming to Springfield Fire. While I was down in Branson Fire, it's great. It was my first career experience. I got to experience that difference of volunteer department where you don't know what you have coming to the career department where you knew who was coming, you knew how many people were coming, and you knew what to expect. Everybody kind of knew their role. While I was down there, I had great educational opportunities. They sent me to lots of classes, paid for the classes, paid for meals while I was away, paid for my time while I would have been on shift, but the days off were days that I lost, that I wasn't making money from my side jobs that supported my family so my wife could go to school. And a little while after I started Branson Fire, we had a kid, so I had my wife and kid at home that were dependent on that money, but we were able to plan enough to where I could go take those classes and give up that little bit extra money that I was making to support them, to gain that educational experience, which taught me lots of things, not just from the education that I earned toward the job, but it taught me, I was exposed to lots of different instructors, which taught me lots of different methods of instructing, lots of different methods of learning. I found different ways that I learned better so I can present those when I'm teaching to others. While I was down there, I also became one of the 2 tactical medics for the Branson SWAT team. That put me in a role where me and the other medic were 2 firemen that were involved in the SWAT team. So we were involved with 8 highly trained, highly experienced and proficient police officers that you really had to earn their trust and work into a relationship with them to where that we could operate together. We also, while doing that, we started teaching them tactical medicine every training day, which was once a month. We would put in a portion of tactical medicine, and it was between me and the other medic to build the plan of how we were going to do it, how we were going to structure our medical training time with them in a manner that they would accept, and teaching medicine, tactical medicine, emergency medicine to individuals that had never had any medical training before. A little while after I was on the team, that the other medic, he got deployed, and I became the only medic on the team. So it was up to me to build those medical training plans for each training day, which was an awesome challenge for me. It was an awesome experience to learn how to build those and take the information and bring it to the level of those officers. It was a great experience. Really prepared me for different teaching levels and different teaching styles. While I was down there, I also got to take over the medical supply program. The medic, the other fireman that got deployed, he was also my equipment operator at the time, and he deployed and he was in charge of the medical supply program. When he deployed, he asked if I would take over and run it for him, which I was more than happy to oblige. It gave me the chance to really first time running a program that the whole department depended on. I was in charge of making sure we had enough medical supplies, those medical supplies that we didn't restock off the ambulance, so medical gloves, AED stuff, making sure AEDs were getting serviced, making sure O2 bottles were hydrostatically tested when they were supposed to. I had a budget that I had to manage and had to prepare and have a good idea of how much supplies we were going to need. The biggest one was probably medical gloves, to prepare and have a foresight of how much we were going to need in the future to make sure we always had enough in stock. That was my first chance to run the program. It was a great experience to see the budget side, having to get bids for purchases over a certain amount, and getting accustomed to those procedures. While I was down there, I realized that I wanted more options for my career. Branch was a great department, but the options that I wanted were this job in particular. The options of being able to go into different divisions, to take different career paths from the training division, the CRR division. And that's one of the things that really drew me to Springfield, was this kind of opportunity. So I realized that was what I wanted in my career, so I made myself profitable to Springfield Fire and applied here and was able to get hired in 2013. When I got hired, I got to go through the academy as a student. I was very impressed with how the academy ran, the knowledge of all the individuals involved in it, and just the way that the whole academy ran. That really drew me in, and I wanted to be part of that. So I got myself in positions where I could assist in teaching classes during the academy. I began first with teaching basic ladders in the academy as an assistant instructor, now Captain Wells. The second year, when it came back around, he was deployed, so I got to be the lead instructor on the ground ladders for that fire academy. Since then, I wanted to continue to stay involved and try and build the role that I could play in instructing the fire academy. So I went and got the evaluator course for Fire 1 and 2 to make sure I wouldn't miss out on those opportunities to teach during the academy. This past academy, I was the lead on PPE chapter, the lecture and the skills, and ground ladders lecture and skills. I was the assistant instructor for the fire crew fitness section, the search and rescue for the lectures and the skills. I was assistant. Hose streams for one of the 3 days, and for the live burns. I went and obtained my 1403 certification. So I'm a certified live fire instructor, which will help me in this job because I can fill one of those roles. We have to have so many 1403s, and I'm privileged enough to be one of them. Along with wanting to be more involved, I also became a assistant fitness trainer for the fire department, which got me more involved with the academy. That first year, I was involved almost every morning with PT, with the exception of my shift mornings, coming in on my days off, and learning how to supervise individuals through the PT program. And I wanted to become even more involved in just that part of it. I was able to obtain my peer fitness certification. So it's the personal trainer certification geared toward firefighters, accredited through ACE. I obtained that this past year, and since then I've become the assistant to Chief Clark in running the fitness program. This past year, the role that I played in that was running the fitness program part of the academy, planning out the 26 weeks of fitness instruction, and I've started on this year's 24 weeks of fitness instruction. So with that, I delegate out different weeks for each trainer to program, and then they send those in to me, and I evaluate their programming, and I provide them feedback with that. I give them feedback of whether or not their workout meets the objectives for that week that we're trying to obtain, and that they're at their appropriate level for where the recruits are at that time. Our program is geared by how well they control their movement, because we want to make sure they're moving correctly to sustain a long, healthy career and a healthy retirement. So I provide that feedback to the trainers with their programming, whether it needs adjustments and improvements, or if it's all right on target. I still provide that feedback, and I have to make sure that they get that done. I send the schedule out quite a bit prior to the academy usually, and I have to follow up and make sure that they're getting a program, because it's easy to forget. It's easy to slip up as quick as it comes when you work every third day. So it's one of the things one of the roles I got to step into was holding them accountable and making sure that they're doing that, which we're pretty fortunate with our staff. Not very often that I have to send out reminder emails. I've also been teaching crew and department members everything from physical fitness and ground ladders to pump theories and pump calculations, and deploying hoses every time we have somebody come to our crew that's not normally on our engine, that I don't normally supervise in an out-of-title role. We start to shift off with hose deployments. So I'm teaching what I expect as their out-of-title supervisor. So that way they know my expectations and I know their training levels. So that way we can be prepared for those calls. So it's provided me an opportunity to teach not just the newest recruits and the one-year firemen, but I've also had the opportunity to teach my ladders class to some of our senior members from different crews, members that have had 20 plus years of experience on the department. I've been able to teach with them, and it's definitely grown me and prepared me for this role, because I've taught to every level of experience from brand new to 20 plus year experienced firefighters, which has grown my abilities and had to change, not change, but add variety to the way that I teach, because it's a different type of instructing to those individuals. I've also obtained my instructor 2 on this past year. So that way I went through and I gained the knowledge and what it takes to build a class beyond just a class that I can present. That gave me the opportunity and the education to make my advanced ground ladders class that I teach in the Truck Academy. Before, it was a class that I could teach and I could present it well time after time. However, it wasn't a product that I could take and hand off. It was one that whenever I stopped teaching it, or when I leave this department, it would leave with me. After going through instructor 2 and rebuilding that class, it's now a class that I can take and I can hand my material to somebody else, another quality instructor, and they can present it now. So it's made me a better instructor, because I can create those programs that can be passed on, and I know how to do that now, which I didn't before. So that's definitely one of those things that just greatly prepared me for this position. I also started teaching at OTC 3 years ago. I'm fixing to start my third OTC class. I'm teaching Fire 1 and 2. It's half a semester in the fall and a full semester in the spring. And that has definitely grown me as an instructor and as a leader, because I have to lead everywhere from, I've had students that are 18-year-olds, just graduated high school, stepping into this, want to be a firefighter, to individuals that have retired from their first job and want to be a volunteer firefighter, but want their certification first. So it has broadened my horizon and my ability as an instructor to reach different members of different ages and different backgrounds. But besides that, it's also grown my ability to plan an entire class, because it's not just a week of class or 2 weeks of class. It's a semester and a half. It's 8 months of class that I got to prepare and look forward to, and make sure that paperwork is turned in on time and that I've collected all their information, so that way they can go on to certify for testing. And I have to gauge their class and their abilities to make sure that they're ready for those tests. And I have to plan for extra practice time for those that need more practice time on skills. And I have to judge that off of how the class is progressing, because it's been different for every class so far. That's definitely also taught me how to coordinate with other facilities and other agencies, because then we coordinate with Battlefield and Springfield Fire. We also coordinate with Pick and Pull for our extrication. We coordinate with Southern Stone for our live fire, but I'm fortunate enough that retired Chief O'Connor handles that for me, so I really don't coordinate that part of it. But I do coordinate my class schedule with Battlefield Fire, with Pick and Pull, and with Springfield Fire to make sure we have facility usage for the training that we're going to be doing that day. Besides just that, this past year I got to spend time assigned to the training division in a light duty capacity, which gave me a first-hand knowledge of what the training officers do. That prepared me for, I got to see what they do and lead up to the academy, but then besides just running the academy, all the things that the training officers have to do while the academy is still going on. They still have to attend to the needs of the rest of the department. I got to see that firsthand and be involved in it. While I was there, we were involved in the preparations, the logistics, the gear, the uniforms, all that goes into preparation for the academy. Seeing Captain Merritt make the schedule and make sure everything is lined up. But then I also got to be a part of Captain Houston's role at that time of running the coordination drills. I got to assist with that. I even got to run a few of them. And then also with the driving course for the entire department, I got to be a part of administering that on a few days and a few occasions. So I got to see what they do besides just the training academies and what they do on a day in, day out basis. So I gave me that first-hand look of what they do and the role that they play, and that just enticed me even more to be drawn to this position that I was already drawn to. This past year, since I promoted equipment operator, I quickly became qualified to run out a title, and my former lieutenant promoted to station captain a few months ago, and there's no more lieutenants on the list, so I've been running a lot of out of title in the past couple of months. Gained lots of experience for supervising individuals, not just my crew and my firemen. That I'm fortunate enough that the two firemen on my crew, we also started in this fire department together. We came on in the same class, so we know each other really well. So I got the experience of supervising them where we know what each other's going to do, and as a supervisor, it makes it a lot easier for me because I already know them. I already know what they're going to do in their experience level. But then I've also had the chance to supervise an entire crew of individuals, all that travel into my station, being everywhere from 3-year fireman driving, and then the two in the back seat. One was a 1-year firefighter, and the other one was a 2-year firefighter. So I got the experience of supervising individuals that I was unfamiliar with and that weren't as experienced. But it's grown me as a supervisor and as leader because of having to use those different leadership tactics and prepare for that and plan out the day. So all this together has prepared me well for this position. I've had that chance to prepare and get the experience of leading, of organizing, planning for what the class is going to do, running programs, handling budgets. These have all prepared me. I've earned my fire instructor 2 certification and my live fire instructor certification. All these have helped prepare me for this job, and I think they've prepared me pretty well.